truth is that we're a divine being and we're having a physical experience, but that isn't really who we are. Who we are and what we are is an expression and an extension of source energy. And if you learn how to do spiritual mind treatment, you'll learn how to work with the laws and manifest what it is that you really want and get clear on your life. And
Well, welcome once again to Raising the Consciousness of Humanity. Today I have a very exciting guest. She's a musician, a songwriter, a reverend, a spiritual mind practitioner. She is a person that I know dearly because she's on the same practitioner team at the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast that I am on. And yeah, I'm excited to have you here, Elaine. I read quickly your bio on your website, and I know you're a musician, you write songs, you travel quite a bit, both for message and music at New Thought centers, at spiritual centers. And I want to kind of dive deep a little bit into your journey because what I don't know is I don't know like what got you to where you are today.
okay.
What got you like was music always a thing? Was spirituality always a thing? How did they blend together? And yeah, what got you to here today?
Okay, I'll take it away. So
Hmm.
I was born in New Jersey and I grew up in Morris County and I lived in New Jersey until I moved to my house here in Sarasota in 2000. I owned it for a little while, but and I bought it because I was always traveling and I started to just come to Florida in the winter. And I was tired of crashing in on my friends, so I just bought my own little place and I never actually intended to have it be my primary residence, but I was married at the time and we decided that wasn't working, so I just moved to my own house. And every summer, except for COVID, I've gone back, back home to New Jersey in the Northeast and present at different churches and centers and doing some concerts, sometimes even some kids stuff. I did a lot of kids stuff in the 90s and 80s, late 80s.
Hmm.
So I come from a musical family. My father was a concert violinist, a composer, a really good singer. He played piano. He could play anything, really. And he was always hustling to make an extra buck. So he would get these teaching jobs. And he got a teaching job at it was called the Neighborhood House. It's like a community center in Morristown, New Jersey. And I actually went to nursery school there. And he got a gig there teaching beginner guitar. So I was about 10, so I took beginner guitar. My father taught me cheater C. You just do one, just you play the top three strings. Cheater C, cheater G, D, A minor, a few chords like that. And then when I was 15 and I was in high school, they sent me to the convent. I lived at Villa Walsh. I lived there. I didn't just go to school there.
Wow.
They sent me. I was sent there kind of for disciplinary purposes. But I'll tell you what, no matter what they do to me, I bloom and blossom. And they sent me there because they had a really good music program. And in fact, my father started an orchestra there back in the 60s. So I knew the campus. It was just in the next town over from where we lived. I knew it, and I've always felt comfortable since those days being in big places, mansions, just things like that. I just feel comfortable in those big environments. And Villa Walsh Academy, a finishing school for girls. Well, I only went there for 1 year, and in the meantime, in that my freshman year, we moved to Montville, New Jersey, which was close by, and my mom had a nursery school called Silverland, and this was a 6,000 square foot house. It was a farmhouse originally, and
Nice.
so we lived there. And then I went to Montville High School, Montville Township High School, and I was singled out because I had musical talent and ability and the desire to do it. It wasn't just that I could sing, but I wanted to do it. And so then I started to play guitar. That's what Sister Judy in Villa Wall, she got me to play the guitar, and she was friends with my dad. So we went out and got a $15 guitar, and I was in the octet. I wasn't just in the chorus, I was in the octet and
Nice.
got to do solos, and it was really great. You know, it was really, I didn't even have to worry about what I was going to wear to school because I had a uniform. So it was freeing.
Perfect.
And then I went to Montville High School and, you know, got to do solos and studied music. And I just knew music. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to be when you grow up? Music. And so just tunnel vision for music. And I made friends with a woman who was one grade ahead of me. And she had the music bug and she played the guitar. And so we were a duo for a while doing folk music in little coffee houses. And then I started to play guitar too, more than just a few chords.
Uh-huh.
And I went to Montclair State College now it's a university. I went to Montclair State and I was a classical voice major, but I took a guitar class. So one day was classical and one day was folk. So I learned this different kinds of right hand finger picking and things. And I just started getting jobs. And I mean, wherever I went, I brought the guitar. If I was at a party, I had the guitar. But if anybody wanted to hear me sing, we had to go into another room. I wasn't going to be just singing and nobody listened. I have to be heard.
Yeah.
So I told the universe that a long time ago. And it just, excuse me, it just blossomed. And a man approached me. He had some physical challenges, and he took me on as his project. Both sets of his grandparents were newspaper people, so he got me in all these newspapers every time I was going to play somewhere. And in those days, this was the 70s, you had to send a picture. So we send a picture, a bio. It's completely different now, but I learned how to do self-promotion, and it all helped. And I was playing in colleges starting in the late 70s. I just traveled around and did college coffee houses and concerts, and then I had a spiritual awakening like in the mid 80s. Like I knew I always was drawn to full moon. I was drawn to not Christianity, but some other spirituality. It just couldn't really. I mean, I couldn't even stand the word God. I know there's a lot of people in Science of Mind that don't like that word or didn't like that word.
Yeah.
And forget about Jesus.
Yes.
And even though I was raised Catholic, my father was Jewish, although he converted to Catholicism.
Okay.
Don't tell my mother. She's not even, neither of them are here, but he converted. She thought he really believed in it, but I don't think so. I think he loved her so much, and I had an adopted Jewish mom that happened later, and she would see, I had very handsome parents, and she would see a picture of my mother and she says, "Oh, what a beautiful woman. No wonder your father converted to Catholicism for her." And she was great. She was Mrs. Silver, and she ran the nursery school, and there were kids all over, and I left. I didn't leave there until I was 27 because I started touring. And it was like, well, why should I go rent a place and never be there? So I just stayed, and it was a huge house. There was all these levels and layers and areas to be in. And so then I had a spiritual awakening probably in the mid 80s. And even my sister, she was a big reader. She would read all these things about metaphysics. This was probably in the mid and late 70s. And in fact, she got me, for one of my birthdays in the 70s, she got me a book, the Findhorn Garden, about the gardens of Findhorn in Scotland. And I was there twice. And I set an intention that I would do a concert on the summer solstice.
Nice. And
I did it last summer. And because I had heard that in Great Britain and Scotland that the days, it would stay light until 11 o'clock at night, and I wanted to experience that. So I made that happen, and that was just another divine appointment, just things happening that drew us to that. And Findhorn is great if anybody has a chance to go. So they wanted to start the concert at 8 o'clock, and I'm thinking, that's kind of late, 8 o'clock, that's late. So we do the concert at 8 o'clock, of course, and it's over at 10 o'clock, and I go outside, and it's 10:30 at night, and the sun is still out.
So bright.
The sun was out. And I don't know, I don't, it was too much for me. And
Mhm.
then it would not be enough if I lived there in the winter. It wouldn't, I mean, the sun
Sure.
comes up and goes like, it doesn't go like this, it comes up and goes like that. So, but it was a dream, an intention that I had for a long time.
Nice.
So anyway, I had the spiritual awakening really about the mid 80s, and I also was very clear that I didn't want to perform in bars where there's alcohol.
Mm.
So that was, really important to me. Like there's a lot of musicians, they start out and they think, oh, let's get a gig at a bar.
Most, a lot of them are. Yeah.
Yeah. And that doesn't work for me. And so I just think because I took a stand in life early that, I would do museums, kids concerts, festivals, parks,
Yeah.
libraries, parties, weddings. Um, and I have played in some clubs, but not that many, I'm happy to say. Not that many clubs.
Well,
Uh,
when would be the first time you went to like either a Center for Spiritual Living or when did that start?
Well, I think the first Unity Church I heard, another sister was living in California, and she started going to Unity in Santa Barbara. So I'd heard of it. I kind of knew about it, I think. I don't. But the first one I went to that I can recall was in 1988 in Key West, which
Oh,
is kind
wow.
of a second home for me. I have a lot of connections, or at least I did, and spent a lot of time there over the years. And so it was there. And then a few years later, I remember I got to sing at the Church of Religious Science in Morristown, New Jersey, which is now Center for Spiritual Living, with Frankie. Frankie wasn't even there yet. It was that I got hired to do that, and then I found the full moon circles at the Unitarian Church in Morristown, New Jersey, and started going to that. And it was women, and they would get together every month, honor around the full moon, and we would honor ourselves as women and goddesses.
Nice.
I learned all these different, there was about 4 or 5 rituals that always were in the circle.
Hmm.
And I learned that, and I do circles myself. I call them a gathering of divine beings, and where we celebrate that we are human and divine. Human
Nice.
and divine, and everybody bless. You do a blessing in a circle. You don't have to go to a priest to get blessed, and
Yeah.
so everybody gives and gets a blessing. We call in sacred space, and we create the sacred space as we cast a circle. Is what that is, but creating sacred space. And then they call in the directions, and some of them I do. Some of these things I do musically, and we pass the talking stick. Maybe there's some kind of theme, and then everybody
Nice.
gets to share about it. And then to open the circle, we have a closing ritual. And and then I found the Church of Religious Science, really in late 1992. And right around that time is when the fairies came into my life too. And that's a
Oh,
whole other story, but
yeah.
that brought me so much joy, creativity, love, light, prosperity,
Nice.
more and more connections with people through their kids. Because a lot of grown-ups, they're like, what? Fairies? Especially back then in the
You're
early
right.
90s,
Yeah.
early mid 90s. What are you talking about? But then they would see their kids or grandkids, or they would come to my concerts and they were totally into it. Everybody, if the 7-year-old is into it, the grandparents or the parents are into it. So a lot of people knew me as Faerie Elaine, Faerie
Yeah.
Elaine, Faerie Elaine. So I did lots of birthday parties. I just did a lot of stuff with, but that's when I found the science of mind. And in 1993, I started to take classes
Nice.
because of my travel schedule. It took me, let's see, it took me like about, I don't know, let me see. It took me a number of years to get through year 1 and 2. Back then there
Took
were
me
four.
8 years.
Well, the thing is, with Frankie Timmers, my teacher,
Yeah.
she was so strict and we didn't have Zoom and we didn't have this. So
Yeah. I had the same
I
issue.
took
Yeah.
year 1 and year 2, and it took me like so long to get through that. And then if you took year 3, there were 25 classes and you could only miss one. And if you missed more than one, you didn't get credit, and it cost $1,000. I mean, I wasn't
And,
going to.
and then they changed the curriculum. I don't know
And
if
then they've changed it a lot.
yeah, and I was traveling too at the time, so I know what you're talking about.
So then in 2000, when I moved to my house here in Sarasota, I started to go to the Center for Conscious Living in Clearwater or Largo, Clearwater. And I actually joined that center because the center here was not open to having me come and perform. And it was really weird.
Yeah.
It still hurts my feelings. I need to get over it, but it's still here. But everything happened in the right time. So I did the whole practitioner training there because Reverend Pat Palmer would work with me. And I remember this one time, there were only maybe 4 people in the class, and they were all sitting around her desk. And I'm in a hotel room in Colorado, and I had class on the phone. And we did that sometimes, and or I listened to this recording. And in 2003, I finished the practitioner. They called it the practicum. But I never got my license because it didn't matter to me if I had the license. And I love the material. You know how that is. I just love the material. And I'm so inspired by it. And from those years of studying with Reverend Frankie, I wrote lots of songs. And then that's how I started to sing at different Unity and Science of Mind, and then some Unitarians. I do more Unitarian centers now, but that's how I got my foot in the door. And then I would just perform different times. And then I started to offer a music inspired lesson in the music. And so they already knew me. So they got me.
Yeah.
And then I met James in 2009, and we got married, and he was working, and he was up in Maryland, and we kind of back and forth. And then he got a job in West Palm Beach at Pratt and Whitney, working for the government.
Oh, wow.
And so I still didn't have my own home church, right? So when I got to West Palm, I looked at Natural Awakenings magazine, and I see Center for Spiritual Living of the Palm Beaches. I'm like, what? They have a church? Wow, they have a center? That's amazing. And I made friends with them, and James and I started to take the classes, and just because we loved it. And about a couple years later, Reverend Marcia McLean called me up. She said, you only need 2 more classes and you could take the practitioner training. You want to? I go, okay, sure.
Nice.
And I'm so glad I did, because we were supposed to live in West Palm for 1 or 2 years, but it ended up being 4 years. And I did the whole practitioner training and got my license. Ron Fox said it would be okay to come early because James was retiring. June 1st was his first day of retiring. They usually do the orals in the summer. So he said, oh, we're ready. Come on over. So there were a couple of us that were getting our licenses. So May 24th, 2018, I got my license. And then a couple of days later, we moved.
Wow.
A divine appointment. It was so perfect the way it worked out. And then, I got to know Teresa. I got to know Karen a little bit, and I got to know Teresa. Of course, I knew Susie Shadle. And Teresa hired me a few times to come and perform at the Center for Spiritual Living, Sarasota. And then the next thing I know, she called me up and told me that there was a split, and she's going to be starting her own center. And do you want to be on the board? And I was like, nice. Yes, finally, in my own town.
Nice.
So I was on the board for 5 years, and I was the first practitioner at our center. And, and I present or perform there regularly. I'll be there in June 8th, I'll be there. And Jay Martin will be with me on clarinet, and that will be his birthday too.
Awesome.
So it'll be a really fun day.
Yeah, so I love your music too, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I kept missing when you were singing there, but I was there one time when you were. I've been to your website, I've listened to your tracks. It's very it's very uplifting. And Elaine, you have like a presence about you where you connect with the audience really, really well. I don't know.
Yeah, they get them to sing.
Yeah, you do.
Whether they want to or not.
Yeah, no, but deep inside they really want to.
You do, I know,
But
because
no,
it's
you do.
selfish.
You get interaction and everything. That's beautiful. I like it when I see that.
Well, I've had criticism too, like, we just want to hear you sing. We don't want to sing. Okay, well, some people, but they're my backup band.
Yeah,
Typically I'm up there by myself, so I like to have them sing. It's my favorite thing I think to do is to sing and have everybody join because it creates a sense of oneness.
it does. It really does. It feels the connection. You got spirituality through the lyrics of the songs that you've written.
Hmm.
And people, I think, emotionally, they connect more with music sometimes than a speech because there's that they're
Definitely.
feeling it. So it anchors it more.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
You know what really anchors it? Like the other day, I was singing at a Unity, and she had me do some music like for 10 minutes before the service started. And I'm up there, I'm singing, and people are talking, and I stopped playing the guitar and I just
mm,
sang, and everybody's like, and that's another like kind of a trick
yeah.
to do a cappella. And then because it's not music and it's not talking, but it's music, and I
Hmm.
think it does something it catches people's attention.
Nice, nice. Well, we're like, I think I asked you this before, but just so the audience knows,
Hmm.
your travel range that you go in is basically how far? Because I know sometimes you probably go beyond that too, but basically, how far do you normally travel to each of these centers where you perform at?
Well, wherever they pay me.
Yeah.
Most I stay in Florida, and most of the time in Florida, and
Okay.
then in the summer I'll go up to the Northeast, and like this. I'm only going to be gone for 2 months this summer because it's a lot to be gone that much, and James doesn't like it. He has to stay home and take care of the
Yeah.
cat and everything. So I'm going to go. My first gig is oh, it's in on July 6th. I'm going to leave on June 29th. I'm here in Sarasota at the UU on June 29th. Then I'm going to drive for a couple hours. And then I have a few stops along the way. My sister's in Northern Virginia, and my other sister is not too far um, on the eastern panhandle of West by God, Virginia. And so
Yeah.
I'll see them, and then I'll go up to New Jersey. I rented a place for a month, so
Nice.
that'll be nice. And I'm going to be at I just have just a bunch of gigs for, I think it's 9 weeks or so.
Beautiful.
And then I'll be home in the beginning of September here. And I think that'll be enough.
Yeah.
It's enough already. And I also have a musical partner in New Jersey named Grover Kemble. He's kind of a New Jersey treasure. He's in his 70s. He's a fantastic guitar player, and he's a really, really good singer, and our voices blend. So we're doing a few concerts of some original, some Beatles songs, but he tends to have like put like a bossa nova beat or some oldies
Oh,
feeling.
wow.
And I'll play guitar on some things and he'll play, but mostly he plays and we sing. And
Nice.
that's on my website if anybody's going to be in New Jersey, just elainesilver.com.
Yeah, I see that you have your events on your website.
Hmm.
Also, I noticed when I was reading through there, you've done some events with some well-known authors. I think I saw Wayne Dyer's name there. There's a couple of other ones that are popular new thought or new thought authors or popular spiritual authors. Um,
Yeah,
I
Marianne Williamson and
yeah,
Deepak Chopra and
yep,
Neil Donald Walsh. And I worked twice with Don Miguel Ruiz, and he loves my music. He wrote a little thing on a piece of card. I said, "Can you write that?" He said, "Oh, write it down." So I have it on. He wrote me a little testimonial, and yeah, I got to meet them all, and that's fine. I really enjoyed meeting Marianne Williamson,
yep,
and I've enjoyed meeting Deepak Chopra. I had lunch with him at Omega. I was on staff there, not
nice,
staff, faculty with Alan Cohen 4 times, and
yeah,
Deepak was there, and I remember sitting there having lunch with him, and I gave him a fairy blessing at one point, and I was walking around. Can I give you a fairy blessing? With fairy dust set up. I have my own line of fairy dust.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, it's in stores around the country, although I haven't had an order from my distributor. But I started doing it in the 90s. So I think the last time I got an order from my distributor was, and I used to have more than one, was maybe 2 years ago. And then I went on their website and I see they still have it, but it's on sale. So I'm history, I think, with them. But that's okay. It lasted 96, 06, 16, 96, oh 06. That's like 20, almost 30 years of having a line of Fairy Elaine's magic dust.
Magic dust. Wow. And can people find that on your website?
I don't know. That used to be on there. I mean, I
Yeah.
still have some. If anybody wants it, they can buy it from me. But
Yeah.
it's just something that I did, and I worked with so many children when I lived in New Jersey, and they loved the fairies. And
Well, tell me more, like as far as especially for children, like the child out there that is the musician or maybe wanting to do something creative, maybe it's beyond music or whatever. I mean, what words of inspiration would you give that individual, knowing what you've done, because you've done quite a bit. But
well, if it's music or whatever it is, I would tell them to think of what you want.
mhm,
Think of what you want and hold it in your mind and hold it in your heart
hmm,
and picture what it would be like to do that or be that or have that. And just know that if it's right, it will come. I have
nice.
a fairy blessing for the kids. I take fairy dust and I'm going to bless you right here. I'm blessing you. And I
Yeah,
put a little bit of dust right here. And
yeah.
I learned this at the full moon circle. But I go, I, Fairy Elaine of the Silver Stream, bless and honor you. Um, let's see, no, that isn't it. That's not the kid one. The kid one is, I, Fairy Elaine of the Silver Stream, ask all the fairies and angels to help you become your very best, and may all your wishes come true. That's what I tell the kids, and they all get sprinkling.
I love
And
that.
but I have the one for grown-ups is, I, Fairy Elaine of the Silver Stream, bless and honor thee. Thou art divine being and child of the goddess, or thou art divine being, thou art goddess.
Mhm.
But I give them a blessing and tell them what they are. And some people they've never been told you're a divine being.
Yeah. Sometimes we're
Isn't it
told the
cool that
opposite.
we know that?
What's that?
Isn't it cool that we know who and what we are? We're made 100% of source energy.
Absolutely. And what you shared there is true because a lot of people grow up not knowing that, or maybe even being told almost the opposite. They're
Oh,
suppressed, their energy's
totally.
suppressed, and yeah, so it's I
I'm not worthy.
yeah,
That's what they're told. That's what the church tells them.
yeah. And if they don't get through the church, sometimes they get it within their families, or they get
Not good enough.
yeah, not being good enough. That feeling they carry through their life and stuff too. So um, yeah, no, I know. I wish I could sometimes travel along with you and listen to your messages and listen to your music. Uh, where are you going to be next?
This Sunday at Unity of Port Richey at 10:30, and I know they record it. I think it might be live streamed. You can 10:30, or you can go on their website. I think just
Yeah, everyone probably record. I'm sure most of them do, right?
well, they record it, but some of them live stream it too. Like while it's
Okay.
happening, you can watch it. Now the church that I sang at Palm Harbor on Easter, they recorded it, but they didn't live stream it. And then I thought, oh, I wonder how I looked. I wonder how it sounded. I mean, I heard her. I was on one song. It was just her. It was just the minister. They didn't have the daily word. They didn't. I
Oh,
said, oh,
wow.
that's okay.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, I was speaking one place and I think they completely forgot to turn on the camera. So I think the people who were waiting live stream never happened.
Oh dear. Oh well.
I think a few of
They
the technicians were out that day. So the
out to
one that
lunch.
was there, yeah,
Or maybe they recorded it, but they didn't stream it.
maybe yeah. I could probably go back and look, but I think it was forgotten to be it wasn't live streamed at the moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're good point. That's probably what happened. Yeah.
Because that's two completely different things.
Yes.
You know, just to video it or to and then make sure it gets into the technology.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some things that like you're you're going to be going, like you said, this summer,
Yeah.
for a while, and what's the next steps for you? I mean, it's just continue doing the same thing. Is any bigger events coming up, or anything you want to share to
I
people?
want to go swimming every morning
Yeah,
because it makes my body feel good. You know, I want to feel good, and so there takes discipline to do that. And so if I like to go and stay at my sister's house because in Northern Virginia because she has the best gym. It's at the hospital and they have two pools too, a warm pool, and I can do and I love that. That's like that is my priority. Go exercise. Like today I worked out in the pool for about an hour and then I rode my bike. I had to go to Publix and get my lottery tickets. I do
nice.
that every week.
So you rode your
Yeah.
bike there.
Yeah, I rode the bike to
Nice.
Publix and got my lottery tickets. And you know, I think I just kind of want to have a more simple life, but I'm
Mm.
drawn also to perform. And it's like, and I book myself and I like it, especially when they say yes. It's like, oh, they love me, they want me. Oh. And then I make the flyers and I like to do that. And then I have to drive and go do the job. I mean, there's like
Yeah.
all different jobs. And, you know, we get paid, they pay us, but they're not paying me to be up there doing this divine work. I get paid to make phone calls, drive, send emails, make newsletters, you know, doing the actual gig, that's part of the pay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you inspire a lot of people. Your music is absolutely uplifting, spiritually uplifting. And how do people find out about, or how do they get on your email list? Because I'm
Well,
on.
they can, okay, they can go on my website and I have to get it fixed because there's like whatever state you're from, you just check that state off and you put,
Okay.
but Florida's not on there. So just send me an email. Go on there, find out if you want to be on my newsletter list, send an email to Elaine Silver. No, it's esilver888, triple infinity, esilver888 at AOL.com. And I will get it. And I look at my emails 20 times a day and I'll put you on the newsletter list. And I usually send it out on Thursdays. And I enjoy doing that. I like to make the news. I like it. It's another creative outlet.
Yeah, and you write poetry too.
I do. I'm the haiku. I'm the haiku cowgirl. I got the haiku bug. I don't know, 4 years ago
Yeah.
maybe. And and the thing that inspires me the most is spirituality.
Yeah.
And so the program I'm going to do this Sunday at oh no, I've done it there. My newest one that I'm doing mostly lately is called Spiritual Economics Through Song.
Nice.
And I took the class with Kathleen about a year ago we started.
Mm.
And it took me so long to do the homework to get through the reading because I kept having to pick up the pen. Just kept getting inspired. I wrote about 400 haiku poems. And in that program, I read some of my poems. And that's a lot of fun. That program is so much fun to do. I hope I get to do it at our center sometime.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
Well, I will include your website as well as anything else you want me to
And
share
my email.
in your email
Yeah.
so people can follow up with you. In closing, any last thoughts, words, or words of inspiration that you want to share with the audience?
I think it's important that we remember who we are and what we are. And when we're in a situation where our humanity is taken over and, you know, the facts are, well, what's the truth? The truth is that we're a divine being and we're having a physical experience, but that isn't really who we are. Who we are and what we are is an expression and an extension of source energy. And if you learn how to do spiritual mind treatment, you'll learn how to Work with the laws and manifest what it is that you really want and get clear on your life and come to the center. You know, wherever there's a center for spiritual living. And if there isn't a center for spiritual living, try Unity. They're wonderful. And I think that's it. Just work on your own spiritual path. If that's what, I mean, if you're drawn to this show, you're probably drawn to that. And take the classes, because that's where a lot of growth happens when you take classes, and then you have to have homework, and you have to read, and so you have to expand yourself, and it takes discipline, but it's a good discipline, and so it is.
And so it is. Well, thank you so much, Elaine Silver, Faerie Elaine Silver. We are delighted and excited that you were able to spend some time with us today. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ron. Namaste.
Namaste.